What's going on, chat? More college Overwatch coming your way with the NECC. I'm Yellcrab, joined by Stacked, and we got a matchup today. Northern Essex Community College versus Lincoln Land Community College. Stack, you know a ton about Lincoln Land. You were telling me during that elongated break there. What are you most excited to see coming into this game?
I'm really excited to see now in this season here in NECC how Lincoln Land can perform. I saw them and commentated for them actually for the NJCAA League last season. And I'm very familiar with Invictus and Pandemonium. You've got the Ryan Zarya that we probably expect to see here. And I like that they, go like mano a mano against their opponents. They like to play it, they like the brawl composition. They like to get in their opponents' faces. And I want to see more of that coordination that I've just come to know and love. Now, I do think there's a history here, and I guess people could correct me if I'm mistaken, but within that very same league, these teams actually did square off, and we saw the Knights, or Northern Essex, get the upper hand 3-1 on Lincoln Land, so there's a bit of a history between these two teams, and let's see if we can get that even score. Let's see if they can, correct the record here and just get that 1-1 history. But I do like, so much about the team. But I guess we'll see how it all shakes out.
I'm interested as well. First map in the map pool today, Chad, is going to be Ilios. So we're kicking it off in Greece on everyone's favorite Ilios point. Ilios, well, just an absolute nightmare once the team is set up. So tough to retake. That first fight is incredibly crucial. But like you were saying about Lincoln Land, I think it could be a lot of brawl versus brawl today. But Northern Essex, they're going to open things up here on a Sigma Wrecking Ball comp. Pretty standard for the last meta, but Stack, we had a big patch just come through today.
Yeah, we definitely did, and really not much of that is present here, as I'm seeing, because we know that, Winston, Orisa, Reaper, and Hammond got impacted. So we do see Freaky J on the Wrecking Ball, so that is one impact from the patch. Already the slam coming in, initiating the fight, getting out.
The start to the engagement by Freaky J, getting in, working up his shields, and then just barreling through this Lincoln Land team, making it very tough for them to set their feet on this brawl comp. Right now, they're inside the Lucio Aura, but they've just got to back up. The resources aren't quite there. Pandemonium goes down to the Bullet Blaze from Zara. That's going to be the first capture for Northern Essex.
And we did see a Freaky J once again disrupting Lincoln Land here, just slamming haphazardly into the whole team, but still using their mobility, get sustained, getting out. And then the follow-up picks we see just full blue in the kill feed. Kermie also picking up a lot of picks here, so, as much as I love the tried and true brawl from Ryan and Zarya, the pickups from Kermie and Freaky J here are a lot to contend with for now, so we'll see how Lincoln Land tries to shake it up here. Already, approaching from a new angle here, kiting around, taking the right side.
Watch this opening pick onto the Moira too. The main heal's down. It's going to be up to SGK Carroll to finish off the healing here. Gravitic Flux coming in, locks up 3, but the beat drop there to counter. Wrecking Ball Mines laid underneath, going to pick up Shuffle, and a Trotsky Star is there with the Helix to finish off Sloth. I mean, Northern Essex, they're just steamrolling onto this point. They're playing the Sigma Wrecking Ball and completely controlling the tempo of this game.
I mean, yeah, once again, you see all that utility and effectiveness from Freaky J. And as much as Invictus wants to lead the charge, Lincoln Land's following up really well. But it's kind of, a double-edged sword here. They need to stay together to get that effectiveness. But when they're all clumped together, the minefield just wreaks havoc on the team. So they need to find a way to kind of answer back on what Freaky J is doing here to disrupt their efforts.
Put some more stuns into their comp. They've added the Roadhog. Kermie goes down to Invictus, the brawl frontline. Right in close onto Kermie, closing the distance. Zarya goes down to that Riptire from Sloth. And now Lincoln able to stabilize here on the point. The hook connects. Osiris goes down to the Junkrat grenade. Somehow, Freaky J winds up with a boot kill onto Pandemonium, but I still think Lincoln should have this fight.
Yeah, they just need to close Freaky J out here and just cap point, and they do get the flip, so now they're starting to rack up percentage of their own, but they can't let a single fight go, out of their way here. So they need to remain steadfast in this defense now. I do like the switch that we've seen Pandemonium off of the Zarya, now onto the Hog to, get that CC in and try to, hold Freaky J back a bit here.
Popping the tag visor, gets collected by the hook and taken down by the damage from his own Helix Rocket. Freaky J landing the boot kill, evening this one out 5v5, finding that on the shuffle. Just again, slamming in. He is relentless in his play, Stack, causing so much commotion in the backline of Lincoln Land, making it so tough for them to just hold down any part of this Ilios well point. The minefield coming out as well. It's making so much space.
Yeah, and you see that ongoing disruption. Like, really, Freaky J is basically controlling the pace of this match, and you know, Invictus gets the nano and tries to remain active within this fight, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. The team is so split at this point, trying to remain on point, but like I said, they can't let a single fight go wrong, and right now, Invictus, the last holdout of this fight.
Oh, he's done it. At least he landed the Fire Strike on the Carol, but the flip comes through for Northern Essex and the Knights. As overtime winds down, High Noon gets canceled, the kill collected, and that'll be the first round to Ilios, unless something crazy comes out here from Lincoln Land. Going the way of Northern Essex, this Riptire might just be it. Freaky J and Kermie have gone down. That's the tanks. The front line is no more. Carol almost gets hooked into the well, but she's able to wall ride out. Osiris getting the kill out of Pandemonium and swinging it back for NECC. They're not done yet. They're clinging to this point. They don't want to give it up. Overtime still. The bar full meter taken down quick, and they step off. Oh, it goes down so fast when overtime goes that long.
Wow, yeah, it's I do not think that they were expecting the Overwatch timer to tick down immediately, but yeah, like you said, once overtime has been in effect for so long, you really can't take a step off of the point. But you know, the classic, you know, maybe there's I'm not looking at the chat right now, maybe there's the classic C9s there. You hate to see it, but you know, it does happen. We have to be mindful of these things. But yeah, we were seeing all throughout that match, Freaky J really doing so much to disrupt the flow of Lincoln Land. The loggers were very displaced here, you know, and it seemed like it wasn't until halfway through that map that we saw in well where Pandemonium saw the need to switch. Now starting off, though, with the knowledge that they've got to contend with Freaky J's Wrecking Ball, so maybe now knowing that, and especially on a map in which the CC isn't as effective, you know, there's no big, giant, gaping well in the middle that they can get booped into. We'll see how effective the strategy plays out here.
Kermie just finishing off the kill onto Invictus. Freaky J pile driving in, getting so much all charge. This front line stepping up all alone to start that fight, just getting into the end of Lincoln Land and making the way to the back line with ease. And it really is just the CC from Freaky J on that slam holds everyone in place on the side of Lincoln Land. And NECC, the Knights are just able to go in and clean up fight after fight. You don't see Ryan Wrecking Ball. Like, talk about that, Stack. You never see these two tanks lining up together.
It's an interesting composition for sure, only because, yeah, it's generally, to get effectiveness out of Ryan, you need an off-tank that, you know, enables his play, like someone that can either, you know, mitigate damage coming at him or just help him push. But Freaky J is kind of accomplishing all of this solo, disrupting Lincoln Land.
Whoa.
And yeah. And wow, a team kill, like, fully cleaning up Lincoln Land here. Not even letting them push past kind of the main choke here. And another thing that I'd like to point out, too, is Osiris. We saw Osiris lighting up the kill feed before, so you've got the follow-up damage there. You've got the CC as well. Osiris kind of squaring off with Invictus, locking him down as well. So, okay, we've got the CC there on Freaky J. Everyone has everything.
CC. Oh my god. You had the stun, you had the hook into the Junkrat trap. Freaky J hard countered 10-away to Sunday, and now Kermie gets the nano boost slapped onto him, and he's playing with a head full of confidence, totally unafraid, pushing into this mega health pack and taking them down one by one. Invictus able to get that pin kill onto Osiris, but it is too little too late in this fight. And we're nearing a last fight scenario here for Lincoln Land on the map.
Yeah, and just like the map itself, you know, LLCC kind of in ruins here. And just like we mentioned, the utility from the Hammond, you know, got taken out at the very beginning of the last fight, but it was already back to finish off that same fight. So opening up the minefield here doesn't seem to get anyone immediately, but now, like, Invictus is kind of just off, like, on his own. And no, nobody can touch. There's not even going to be a last main fight. They could not contest the point, and yeah, Ruins go handily to the Knights there. Wow, what an incredible play. Once again, Freaky J with the utility. Getting those follow-ups from their team, but really disrupting Lincoln Land to great effect throughout the whole match. Oh, we see it also. One of many shatters coming out from Kermie here. Incredible play. And the fact that you had pointed out before, something that needs to be noted is this is such a non-conventional tank lineup that is, for whatever reason, working
it's so
incredibly
weird.
well. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you
But,
can't sleep on Kermie. He's been an absolute frontline presence, shutting down cooldowns coming in from LECC. The Knights are acting like Knights. I mean, Kermie, he's holding up the shield and pushing in headstrong on these slams coming through from Freaky J. And the DPS aren't sleeping either. Osiris and Zara have been on point with their picks. They're clicking heads out there on hit scan. But next up, we're going into King's Row. I'm not quite sure. A lot tighter of a map than Ilios. Is Wrecking Ball a hero that can work just as effectively on this point, or do you think he just shines more on that previous map?
Well, actually, I think, once again, if he works well on control points, if anything, the tighter quarters would actually play to Wrecking Ball's strength, especially with the minefield. You're going to be able to control so much more space with that ultimate, especially in the just historic chokes, like all throughout second point, especially in King's Row. That is just one tight corridor or one tight road after another. And we saw the ability that Freaky J had to disrupt LCC by just, getting those like high ground angles, as we saw like sitting atop of the ruins near LCC spawn. In that same sense, there's so many points of high ground all along King's Row. They can probably just execute those same plays on. You're going to see him exploiting all of the environment. So I don't think there's any reason why the Wrecking Ball wouldn't work given the same kind of strategies. But it's all about really LCC's ability to be aware of that threat and then, follow up on it. And we saw them really shut down Freaky J during the beginning of one of the last fights, but at the same time, it wasn't enough to contend with the rest of the pressure coming out from NECC. And even though they got that opening pick, they still got swept in the rest of the fight. So I think they also noticed that they can't expend all of their cooldowns on this one target. Otherwise, they're left up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah, they definitely can't overinvest into Freaky J. They were kind of getting him to play within some reins where he couldn't do quite everything he was looking for. They added a couple of stuns to their composition. We saw them hook him into a Junkrat trap. I mean, that is just punishing for a Wrecking Ball. He is going to go by the wayside every time if he winds up hooked into a trap. But I think, like you were saying on King's Road, the tight corridors could help with maybe his ultimate, but I'm not too sure. I looked at his profile. He is quite the Wrecking Ball player. Seems to be his favorite hero by a long shot, and he's got quite a strong SR on that as well, especially for this Challengers Division game. He's definitely going to be the highest ranked player in this lobby, at least as of recent. But on King's Row, things are different. I think the Brawl comp we're going to see from LLCC is a lot stronger look here. Kermie fabled the tank line. Reinhardt, Zarya, Freaky J. Going over to the Hanzo, the flex player, Stack. What do you think about that new look?
And that's also going to be really interesting. So, there's a lot of long sight lines that, once again, can be exploited on King's Row. That's why Widow is traditionally, kind of run a wild here. But in that same vein, Ashe can pull off those same kind of plays. And you're going to see the damage boost from SGK Carroll, especially pocketing that Ashe. We can definitely expect that. Freaky J as well. You're going to be able to climb to that high ground, take those off angles. And we already see, Osiris, getting the high ground, getting those shots down range. But, not to be slowed down by that at all. Invictus pushing in. Gotta wait for the team kiting around the right side of point. And they're gonna push onto the high ground here, hopefully. There's a sleep, though.
Challenge. I mean, that might just be a little bit overstepping your bounds, challenging up there like that. Had to have the Zarya bubble committed onto him, but still wasn't enough after that sleep. Invictus now pouring onto this point. Carroll has gone down. That Clamor is finding that pick on McCree. They're not even stopping on point. I mean, maybe a quick pit stop to get some percentage, but the Brawl comp is already closing distance. Invictus finds two in the kill feed, hitting like a madman into the bookstore, trying to find Kermie, and it looks like he'll be able to get that kill.
And wow, what a quick take there. You love to see it because, it's finally getting to show off a bit. They're not to be undone by maybe a lower level performance in the first map. No, they've thrown it out of their minds. they're still playing on point here, and you love to see that composure from a team. Yeah, you don't want to lose confidence, and they're playing with utmost confidence here. You love the punish onto Kermie, and then also a follow-up. Unfortunately, I was going to speak his praises, gets taken out, but Clamorous did pick up the pick onto Mercy at the start of the last fight, so pretty good stuff there as well.
Got some ultimates about to be online as well. Kermie's got this. Shatter looking to lay it down. Big air goes up by his feet, laying it down. Finds Atrocity in the backline. Freaky J collecting that kill as well as the headshot onto Sloth. A beat drop coming in. Adds some frontline presence to LLCC. But the nano slapped onto Kermie. Puts a stop to the attack right there. The nade landed by Haunted Mage. Just leading Invictus.
Yeah, so really good awareness and good expenditure here of ultimates to kind of keep the fight back in their favor. You know, NECC not letting themselves get outdone here. I do like the nano to keep the sustain, the damage in the fight, even though they dropped a pick or two. But yeah, I love the huge air from that slam. Even though it didn't get as much as you probably would have wanted. You love the fanfare of it all.
Abaton Surge comes through, Dragon Strike to follow it up. Easy cleanup work. Osiris has gone down. The Resurrect will be there from Carol, though.
And yeah, I mean, you saw them online, the classic grab dragons. And really with not much in the way of, you know, damage mitigation. You know, we don't got the beat, so that's kind of just, you know, a conceded team fight. You know you're going to kind of lose to that combination. But already, they're back into the fray, pushing in once again with confidence. We'll see how Invictus kind of opens things up here.
Rip Power coming out from the bookstore. What's on sale? It's a kill onto Fabled. Kermie goes down, losing the Rhine duel. Invictus stepping up even more. Batters down Carol. Fire strikes Haunted Mage, finished off by Sloth. And McCart finally moving again here on Kings Row second.
And you see the DPS taking the flank, but they're probably going to be converged upon and punished here for taking those kind of sight lines behind Lincoln Land. Like, it's, yeah, Freaky J gets chased down, and that's such a late stagger that they can try to contest this at the last moment, but they're down their DPS here. They're down so much damage. And now they're kiting away. They're definitely just going to give it to Lincoln Land. Yeah, because they don't really have much in the way of just answers here to this attack. They're going to have to wait for the DPS to get back here in the fray.
Grab going to lock up. Fabled has to use the Zarya bubbles. Freaky J finding two in the feed with a pair of headshots. One on the shuffle, one on the slough. He's not done there. He gets Atrocity too. The 3K. He's doing it all on his own. Now Osiris has the bubble committed onto him, able to just roll in deep with these dash resets. That is a fantastic defense coming out on third point.
And just a classic Freaky J helping pull victory from the jaws of defeat there. Once the grab goes out, you think, you know, that's a conceded fight. They had the potential picks there, but the shots coming out from Freaky J got 3. Incredible.
Blade coming out from Osiris, able to find one kill on the shuffle, trying to clean up the tanks too. Pandemonium goes down to the Blade. Great combo executed by Osiris and Haunted Mage on the side of the Knights.
And just yet another combination. So one thing that the Knights are doing incredibly well is this incredible execution on their ultimates. We see the Grab Dragon once again online, and we saw that to great effect. We saw the Nano Blade. So they know how to use their ults incredibly effectively. You know, they're not wasting any ultimates. They're not using more than they need to. Oh, and Freaky J with the continued picks. They don't even need ultimates to secure this fight at this point. Yeah, the follow-up once again.
What the heck? He gets the hard pocket, too, from Carol. I mean, the damage boost onto the Hanzo. Incredible for cleaning up these Elans.
Yeah, it's so much damage that we're seeing. And, wow, just landing shot after shot. Really, we should sing Freaky J's praises because really been showing off here, to say the least.
Well, here's some more kills for you, Stack. While we're talking up Freaky J, there's at least 3. This card has not moved an inch since they capped second point, and they had a massive time bank. They still do, Stack. I mean, this is still very winnable for LLCC. They've got 2.5 minutes. Well, now we're closer to 2, but that's perfectly fine on Kings Row 3rd. You just have to hit your combos because NECC, I mean, they're in your backline with a flank shatter. Luckily, that Fire Strike was blocked by a light post on the Sloth. He's able to get off this Riptire. Can he find any kills? Working it into the back line. Finds a double kill. They're going to need at least that, as their own front line has just vanished. NECC collecting kill after kill.
And even though they got some utility out of the tire, you see this kind of interesting strategy from Fabled and Osiris to push past the main attack and kind of split themselves in between the respawns and the current attackers of Lincoln Land. Although they do have to back off, they still manage to stave off a full push there.
Osiris cleans up the kill on the Shuffle, who is slept in the middle of the roadway. He's got the Dragon Blade, Nano Boost from Haunted Mage in the back pocket as well. Blade comes out, but he's bursted down, chopped down by Clamors. The counter is there. Clamors does not need the Blade to get it done, and that's going to be the NECC Knights. They're going to have to find a home here in third point spawn, collect themselves, and get back out to contest.
And yeah, I was almost thinking that Blade would have just basically tore through the squishies there, but they all converged and answered back appropriately.
Clamors is looking to get a blade of his own off. The card is nearing the finish line. Time still on the clock. Kirby lays down the slam, but he gets slept. He can't clean him up. Pandemonium finds the kill on the Haunted Mage. It's NECC just battered down into this left side corner on the defensive side. Trying to find some kills. Pinning across is Kirby, collecting it on the Shuffle. And now he's just cleaving away on the point, making space. I'm pretty sure they've done the job. 30 seconds left here. Is LLCC, are they able to get back here and contest this third point?
And the picks are coming in. I think they might be able to finalize that. The slam does come in, but doesn't seem to find anyone. A Dragon's on point, though.
The Riptire.
A lot to contend with.
Oh my god, it's a 3 versus 2. This stall fight gone on so long for the Knights. Kermie switching over to the Wrecking Ball, trying to get this one all the way down into overtime. That's one heck of a job, considering they had 5 minutes going into this third point attack, and NECC seems to have whittled it down to just the final moment. Haunted Mage falling to Invictus. The attackers still trying to win this for Lincoln Land.
And it's unfortunate because, Invictus, he wants to do the damage, but he also knows that if he drops that shield, he's going to get focused down on. But unfortunately, the respawn advantage means that I think this fight is pretty still in the Knights' favor here. They're all now into the fray, but Kermie has been into this fight for so long here. Takes out Invictus to open things up. And really, I think just ongoing respawn advantage. We see the Coalesce having so much damage and healing simultaneously. The Minefield is in.
Oh, they've done it!
Doesn't have anything.
3 kills, Shuffle getting booped off the map, down into the Omnic jail. Osiris able to clean up Atrocity on her way back from spawn. That should do it. 2 points is where it's gonna stay after a long final fight stack. NECC, they were getting, to say the least, steamrolled through the first 2 points, and then they just parked the payload after second.
Yeah, it was an incredible just switch in momentum, because once that payload hit the second point, yeah, they dug their heels in. They drew a line in the sand, and for many minutes said, you will go no further than this. And then it was due to, the incredible amount of damage that we saw coming out from just, all those Hanzo shots. Just incredible DPS play. I want to, shout out both DPS here. We saw Osiris. We saw a Freaky J just popping off just time and time again. And it was due to that combination of ultimates that we saw from the Knights. We saw the Grab Dragons used to great effect. And then when that was getting built up, we saw the Nano Blade. And then basically so many useful shatters that could get a lot of utility on their own. So generally, a good usage of their ults to keep their economy flowing and always give them solutions for major team fights here. I do like that they never needed to expend more than they needed. Usually if people hear an ultimate, it's a bit of a reaction, kind of just let yours rip in kind of retaliation. But they're not letting themselves get swept up in the moment. They've got a plan and they're executing on it. And I love that composure. So it's definitely going to be hard. I hope that, LLCC can kind of hold the line here and certainly hold first point longer than they capped it. And opening pick with Slothish on Freaky, though, will, hopefully mitigate some of this quick push.
Insanely fast Brawl Comp rushing through the Alderworth Hotel. Osiris is able to find Atrocity. That's the Resurrect gone in a long walk back from spawn. It seems like they're able to get these rest of the kills just to push the defense back, so they have to collect, but that is going to be a long walk for Atrocity. That pick onto Osiris, though, stepping a little bit beyond the bounds where a DPS player should be. Engaging a Reinhardt up close is going to even things out here, though. Plenty of time for Atrocity to get back.
Oh yeah, and you love to see it. Sometimes you got to take those risky plays. You know, high risk, high reward. You like getting those stagger picks, giving your team more time to get back in the fray, and just get a bit more set up on defense. We see the damage amp.
Fantastic window, or should I say garage door, to burst down Kermie. Clammers not missing the shots, the crucial shots to keep that Reinhardt at bay. And now LLCC, they're just pushing into Black Car, taking all the space back. Freaky J, though, up on this high ground all alone. Now he's got Fabled up there working alongside him. They could do a lot of damage from this angle. Kermie's able to roll into the point and find that Fire Strike on the Clammers, too. And I'm just looking at Fabled positioning. He's at 100 charge. This is a menacing spot for an attacking Zarya to be. The slam comes in. Slotfish kept alive by a fantastic Immortality Field from Shuffle at the last second. Stacked. The defenders look like a completely different team than we saw in Ilios, but finally the first point may be collected by NECC.
And you know, they did hold on for, I guess, more significant amount of time. Did, though, get split up there, and I think that started off with Freaky J and Fabled on that high ground flank. You know, they took that space and split up the attention of LLCC until eventually, engaging into that fight, Kermie with the pin into main, and also the shatter, because, you know, Invictus was a bit preoccupied with a different side of point, letting kind of Kermie take that space. We see the grab and Bob go in with the counter dragons.
Tons of ultimates being chucked through. NECC left with just 2 on the board to finish off this second point. They really committed heavily into winning this bookstore fight. And it seems like they're going to be no slouches taking space here, rolling deep into the third point to just take as much away from LLCC as possible. Freaky J with 2 more picks onto the support. Wow. They can really go in now. I mean, the space is in front of them. It's already been made by the DPS.
Yeah, and once again, we're just seeing Freaky J light up that kill feed. Incredibly well-placed shots, and as we mentioned before, a good follow-up, good combination of ults. Grab Dragons works once again to great effect here. But we see, look, almost literally every single ultimate is online for Lincoln Land. They've got the ults, they just gotta use them.
And then the first one to come out, the sleep coming through onto Invictus will stall this defense coming out at least a little longer. Shatterlands as well, but a quad from Sloth, massive, and the defense will stop the cart right here.
Oh my, I just had to pop up a 4-man tire. That is the saving grace that Lincoln Land needed to just stay within this fight here. Once again, stopping the play on the 4th point. They can now, you know, rest easy, breathe that sigh of relief here, and get themselves set up for the next counterattack by the Knights. I like Clammers kind of taking this high ground, maybe trying to flank from here. I don't think they're going to push in too much more. The beat goes in to contest the grab, and we see, you know, the window once again, pushing them to kite away, but we see the flank now pivoting to the right side.
That was very quick. It's going to catch Invictus unawares. Taking him some time to get over to this right side, laying down the slam onto the back line, but he's bursted down by Osiris. Freaky J following up from the other angle, claiming this payload, reaching second point finish line, no problem at all here. And a 3-minute 40 time bank going into third. They've got their win conditions set. If they can just get it past 68 meters, they've done it on King's Row.
And yeah, basically, you know, they got to take it near the end here, but since they won very handily on second point, that means, you know, they're not going to be able to be held at the point like Lincoln Land was. So already near the last corner, Immortality saves Invictus, but is going to be enough sustain, and no, Kermie does get the pick.
Frontline for Lincoln Land going down again. Kermie aggressing so far up with Carroll. He's got the speed boost, knows the tempo of this attack. The shield is broken. He's got to find his way behind the point. Riptire coming out. There was no shield to block it, but the fire strike from Kermie snipes it. It's not enough. He's pinned into the back, taken down by Invictus. Great stuff from Kermie.
Yeah, I love that deep pin. You know, getting the pick back onto Kermie, staving off this fight yet again. Clammers, you know, with another pickup here. A last late stagger onto Haunted Mage. But once again, like you said, recognizing the pacing of the match, Kermie has that confidence to push in But then know that, you got the cooldowns and support from the rest of your team. Maybe overextended a bit, but survived into the fight much longer than I think he had any right to be.
Baton Surge making Kermie awfully uncomfortable. Both Reinhardts have the Shatter ready to go, and this is what Rhine players live for. Kings Row, third point, with a win condition, Shatter be Shatter. Can't let your shield crack. The pressure is on for the main tanks. Who's gonna have it land? Who's gonna be the one to block it? Both of them are just anxiously squaring off right now. The window comes out. Kermie has a window to Shatter, and he finally lays it down. Invictus having to get that bubble to stay. Syra throwing the Bob into the back line, collecting 3 kills. Kermie pinned, but taken down by the Bob is Invictus, and that should be Kings Row. NECC going up 2-0.
Well, I mean, we see these last-minute contests, so let's see if it's not over yet. And we saw Lincoln Land also get held up in the same position where, like, the respawns came in and they weren't able to close out the rest of the fight, but let's see if the same can happen. Can Lincoln Land hold on? But Freaky J with the picks! They're able to target focus, and no, they just don't have the ability to recontest. And yeah, NECC does eventually close it out. Wow, that's, they're up now, 2-0 in this set. And just to clarify, within this league, we do play the third map regardless, just for map differentials down the line, just so we can truly come to like a definitive, I guess, winner or like ranking system here. Well, but yeah, I guess we will move on.
Play. Invictus was slept. They were down to their last legs on that second point. The Shatter came through onto the slept Reinhardt. Everyone behind him stunned to the floor, but the 4K tired. I mean, clutch from the DPS, but in the end, Northern Essex Knights going up 2-0.
Truly explosive play there. Still not enough to maintain kind of an even sway within the set, but I think definitely a better showing for Lincoln Land, especially on their attack. And then we got to see from what they could do for control. And I think it's just, their ability to actually play the Rhine Zarya to their strengths on a map that they prefer. Did show off a bit more of their potential, but once again, shout out to the Knights doing incredibly well to work cohesively as a team. But then also just, wow, incredible shots, just time and time again from Freaky J. And yeah, good adaptability as a player. We've seen a lot actually from Freaky J within this set. So showing off on just multiple kind of heroes and situations.
Yeah, and the next map on the list, Havana. That's a fantastic Hanzo map. I would imagine we see him stay on the DPS just with how well he performed on Kings Row. That hero brings a lot to the table with these long sight lines we're going to be seeing. What do you think we see from LLCC? Do you think they stick with that brawl-oriented comp, maybe slap a couple stuns on it, or did they go for a different look?
The thing is, I've known LLCC to, kind of just stick to their roots, and if they think they can get mileage out of their tried and true kind of compositions, they'll run with it. I think we did see them work to great effect. I don't think that they lost due to a matter of composition, but just, overall better levels of execution from the Knights. But really with, I think, more awareness, better follow-ups, the fights could have swung either way here. But, an incredible match. But you know what else is incredible before we get into it? Helix Esports. Helix Esports offers world-class gaming and virtual reality experiences at state-of-the-art esports centers throughout the United States. Helix Esports delivers a professional esports experience to everyone.
And whether gamers choose to play, practice, or socialize with friends, or compete at the highest level, Helix Esports is the premier destination for gamers. Follow Helix Esports today at Helix Esports USA.
Yeah, please be sure to give the sponsor a follow, But right now, we've got not much time before we're going to see the hero selection and see if it does follow through. Yeah, still the Rhine, though. But, you see that switch onto the Hog. Clamors onto the Bastion, though, unexpected. But Atrocity on the Mercy is actually finally expected. Something of note is that Atrocity is generally a Mercy main in my experience seeing this team play. But we've actually not seen much of the Mercy, actually, throughout this set. So it's nice to see that kind of back into play. And then Shuffle on the BAP. We like the BAP. BAP is incredibly effective, very meta. And then you see like the damage amplification, the windows coming in a lot throughout King's Row in the last match. So once again, that same amount of utility and damage down range amplified, by the Bastion. So maybe they'll set up on Cart here. Actually, now with the double shield onto the Sigma.
I love this for Havana. Holding spawn, Freaky J back on the Wrecking Ball, able to do so much disruption with these rollouts by the spawn doors. Invictus, I mean, he's hardly stepped out of the spawn door, but already you could see the positioning mistake as there's just so many members of the Knights around him and they swarm him with damage from multiple angles. Zara over on the offside with the Soldier Mercy Pocket to boot, just lacing bullets into the front line. You've got to be so collected and together as a unit breaking out of this spawn. First point.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And this is a strategy you do see from more practiced teams, holding right up to the spawn on Havana. It's effective because, you get to delay the cart push. And even if you fall, you get a guaranteed second contest on first point. Whereas if you're holding much further, you basically only have one team fight before that payload is at the end. So a good positioning here, and they do shave off a significant amount of time on the time bank on the first push here.
And I do love that defensive strategy. Like you're saying, it's usually thrown out by the well-versed team. Zara's got the Mercy Pocket, popping the Tag Visor as well. The Gravitic Flux coming out from Kermie, lifting up at least a pair. Osiris cleaning up Pandemonium with that high noon as they were lifted up into the air. And Osiris is not done there. Takes out both DPS before falling to Invictus, who has slept in this nano and absolutely useless as far as the Reinhardt is concerned.
And yeah, it's I don't know if that was ill-advised. I wouldn't sink ultimates into a mainly lost fight, but I think Shuffle just saw something there that I didn't. Still though, Invictus staying alive, so you don't have to give up too much space. They can still hold at least around this first corner. But Freaky J initiating with the minefield here.
I mean,
and does get sloppish.
This is just a no daylight mindset. He has absolutely nothing for free this map for LLCC. And I think the play you were talking about where Invictus was rolling in with that nano boost, Shuffle saw something he didn't. I think Haunted Mage just made a great play with that sleep dart because Invictus had the distance closed coming up on Shatter. Instead, he's got to lay it down right now. Stunning 3. Zara able to stay alive with the help of the Mercy Pocket. High Noon gets popped from the right side staircase. Invictus having to shield up and back up before collecting another kill onto Freaky J. The Resurrect, though, coming through onto Kermie's stack. This is still anyone's fight.
And yeah, if, Invictus can, take space, they can try to push their advantage here, but you want to block the damage from that Nano Visor. Otherwise, your team's going to be, torn down here.
He did a fantastic job shielding that off. I mean, crucial. 4 members of his team behind that shield.
Yeah, most definitely, because that's just so much damage coming down range. So yeah, pretty good play here, but at the same time, players getting pickups here. Kermie with a pick back onto Shuffle. The res does come in, though. Oh, and now we see the Molten Core taking space here, and Invictus pushing up.
Molten Core making it so the defenders can't push up. They're choosing to retreat right now. I like this. Very smart play. You've got your supports and both tanks alive. You get a recontest here. Freaky J is just eyeing the point. He's hungry for the recontest. Kermie popping the grenade. Oh, man. Before I can even say it.
Perfect.
Pandemonium landing the hook, canceling that ultimate. Kermie erased by the pin coming through from Invictus. Freaky J doing what he can while he's lasting, but Sloth eventually getting the final blow onto him.
And we're finally seeing this level of follow-up and execution that I would love to see more consistently. But yeah, shutting down the Gravitic Flux, and then the follow-up pin onto Sigma by Invictus, that kind of two-pronged shutdown. And then, I also love Invictus taking it to the DPS, shattering, disrupting the High Noon, and just not letting that fight be stopped. They capped point pretty handily here.
This is where things can get tough for the attackers. If the defense just get to come out of spawn and have complete high ground control, they get to stage their engagement perfectly. Freaky J rolls into point with the Wrecking Ball mines, and although they only get one pick, it causes a complete reset from LLCC.
Yeah, this is traditionally a very hard choke to push into once the defensive team is firmly set up into the distillery.
Big slam. Invictus drops the shield just for a flash. And Kirby's able to land it. Has the nail slapped on. Zara's on this left side with an incredibly unique angle, to say the least. able to find 3 elims, finishing off Pandemonium with the Helix.
And what a completely confident play here. It's just, yeah, Zara pushing so deep with the visor and kind of cheekily hopping around close to LLCC's spawn here. You know, getting out, but I love the confidence to take such a close and drastic flank angle here.
PJ already has the mines again, just hit a 6-man slam, but he's hooked by Pandemonium and taken down. Osiris able to cancel that Molten Core before it all gets out. Sloth wishing he had that ultimate back maybe, but it's doing a good job making some space. The Resurrect comes through. Osiris looking to put a stop to the attack with this High Noon, charging it up for as much time as he can, but he'll do nothing more than break a shield. Embers, on the other hand, uses his High Noon just to reload, and then moves up with his main tank. Whole Hog coming out to keep Invictus alive. He falls awfully low, antied as well, but this Whole Hog gotta push that front line for NECC back. And a pair of kills come through. Ultimate's going wild, stacked. Who has the better control in this fight right now? I think it's the Knights still.
And yeah, definitely the Knights. I like the positioning from Zara, starting off on the high ground, getting that pick onto Shuffle, and kind of forcing the res. And then, you know, we did see Clammers get the follow-up, but at the same time, then just continual positioning coming in, like Freaky J initiating once again with the minefield. And I think their ability to control this space, like if you want to push in safely, you're gonna have to push and pressure this DPS off the high ground. Once again, the nano visor gets shut down, actually.
Fantastic job, McCree there with the stun. Pandemonium there with the hook, putting an end to Zara's reign of terror on this soldier. Now they're able to roll in the Shatterlands to Invictus. Hermie trying to cling to his life, getting healed by a hardcore pocket from Haunted Maid, but eventually falls to Pandemonium. And now, LLCC, they've got good control here, but they still have to finish off this 3rd point. NECC isn't going to be working with any ultimates, but Freaky J definitely going to look to recontest this point.
And you know that, yeah, Freaky J is set up for that on the right side, coming in.
Trying to get a slam kill. Sloth goes down to the Fire Strike. The great slam combo. We've seen it again. But Kermie's in a tough spot, and he's antied. The Mercy chained up to him, but unfortunately that yellow beam does nothing. Osiris now, he's got the Mercy pocket. Whole Hog coming out again. Pandemonium doing a great job charging that ultimate rapidly. Kermie, as the res comes through, holds it down for as long as he can. Lands the pin onto Invictus. They might have done it here. The main tank for the attackers. No longer with us. Clammers trying to make plays with his kid. Lands the stun into just a shield, and I don't think the defense has this, but what a contest we saw for a while by NECC.
And yeah, for a moment there, it looked like it was going to swing into the Knights' favor, but I do like that we saw Shuffle just not taking their eyes off of just the heals, doing as much as they could to keep Invictus alive. But then, once again, Atrocity with the incredibly necessary res back onto Invictus to be able to swing the fight in their favor. So I think that was definitely a game of supports on both sides. We saw Carol just pocketing, keeping the tanks alive in that fight. But then once again on the same side of the Lincoln Land, Loggers supports really defining the viability of the fight.
Zara lands a series of headshots into Clammers, taking him down. Sloth also falling to Osiris with the help of the Mercy pocket. Now just popping the High Noon, putting a complete end to this attack. Breaks the Reinhardt shield, getting Invictus and Shuffle behind it, and Zara cleans up Pandemonium. I mean, the DPS just have no trouble pushing through. Once anyone on LCC goes down, they completely claim the tempo of this game.
Yeah, but I think also just another great actor within that fight was Freaky J, once again, pushing Invictus out of the cart and into the sightlines of the High Noon. It's just so cheeky to push your opponents into damage, using your cooldowns and abilities to facilitate your team. It's just working so well. A Freaky J, once again, using the ball to disrupt so much of what Lincoln Land's trying to do here.
Zara tried to get another backline tack visor to work there. Had a little bit of help from Freaky J. The nano boost slapped onto him as he rolls into a trap. Utterly useless, but he's going to get a big ultimate and a slam. Still has the nano boost. This is a truckload of damage. Sloth goes down. Carol's on a mission with a double kill using Valkyrie. Fantastic use of the Mercy ultimate. Getting in the kill feed mix. It looks like NECC, if they can cancel this Resurrect, they cannot. Invictus back in the mix. The attacker's not done. The slam lands on the 3. Piling through. And it seems like they're collecting kill after kill. They've still got to remove Zara and Freaky J, the two carries so far, if there have been some for NECC. They find a couple of kills. The defense is back in. Overtime ticking. Osiris finds a pair. Stacked. Ooh.
You know, Osiris just getting so much damage here, but I love the pressure of the High Noon, putting so much pressure onto Invictus, forcing him to hold that shield. All the while, you saw Zara trimming that shield down until eventually it was gone. The rest of the follow-up damage came onto Invictus. And then the two follow-up picks from Osiris, now that Invictus was out of that fight. So incredible play by the DPS to kind of just hold the line and force Invictus into just a terrible situation of, you know, having to remain on cart, because once again, you're in overtime. You can't back off too much and can't give up space, because if you back up too far, then you know you're within one boop away of Freaky J, making that overtime counter just go down immediately. So you can't kite away too far from the point, but at the same time, you can't just give up too much space, or you can't stop the damage coming in and the pressure of damage from the DPS line. And I think, yeah, once again, the High Noon just forcing Invictus to like hold that shield, knowing that it's going to get trimmed down, and then the follow-up damage was too much. Really, just an incredible play. And once again, throughout the entire engagement, the last point, we saw so much coming out from Freaky J, whether it was, you know, using the CC to displace Lincoln Land into sight lines of damage, like the High Noon kill that we saw earlier, or once again with the minefield, getting so much damage on its own. And I've seen this time and time again where, you know, the slam comes in, maybe you get slept, and then you get hooked as a follow-up, but even those cooldowns are not enough to secure the pick onto Freaky J's Hammond. Just honestly, incredible play from the Wrecking Ball that just gets so much value consistently throughout the entire fight.
We get to see him flash a new hero in his off-tank lineup. He's going to be onto the Zarya now. Doesn't have the Dragon Strike combo to them this time around, but we'll see if that makes a difference or not. The anti-natal lands, Kermie in a bit of a tough spot rounding this first corner. We're not seeing the spawn door hold from the LLCC defense. Interesting what difference that's going to make as the sleep dart lands onto Invictus. Sloth and Atrocity going down to the tanks from NECC and the DPS pair. Finding another pair of kills. This is already a wrap on the first fight. Stacked, they're rolling in. They even get a recontest here? I mean, this is kind of what you get when you don't hold the spawn doors.
And especially just initiating the fight so close, basically to that like news kiosk. It basically makes it so like, you can't engage again on this point. It's really kind of untenable. It's not a good idea. And already we see, you know, Invictus hoping he gets hope that he can try to make something, but all you've accomplished here now is making it so your team is staggered yet again without their main tank, and they've got to kite away even further than, let's say, you know, the high ground here, next to these giant distillery containers. We already see, you know, the Knights pushing up, Osiris taking space that should have been Lincoln Lands. And yeah, we did see Osiris light up the kill feed at the end of the first point, so this Kree, the sleep comes out, but this Kree's not afraid. Gets the peel that he needs to not get blown up by Shuffle, but is he going to stay alive here?
Tire coming out, finds a double kill. That's what Lincoln Land was looking for. Osiris and Carol going down, making this a 6 versus 4. Invictus claiming some space, rolls in with a pin, but he gets collected and taken leftward by Kermie. That is the main tank. No more for Lincoln Land. No shield in the way. Too stunned by the shatter. Can they clean up the Mercy? Atrocity does go down. Now the visor from Zara pops up top. King of the high ground. No shots missing, but nothing in sight to even shoot. Stack that one a little bit wasted there.
You know, maybe it's just a matter of like feeling yourself. Maybe you think you don't need the visor to clean up this last point or the second point. But I think uncharacteristically, that deep pin from Invictus was just kind of like a nail in the coffin for this point. Because it's just this domino effect where, because Invictus went for the charge, he got punished. Then you open your team up to get shattered because they've got no way to block it. They have to kite away, and then the high ground goes back into control of the Knights, and then, you know, the visor can just get things for free, or pressure space at least. But interesting retake here, unexpected. I think, yeah, it was that bravado, that kind of hubris from the Knights that kind of opened themselves up for this counterattack here.
A good little final stand on the second point. Kermie stepped up so far. The Graviton Surge was committed on the bottom side of the spawn staircase for the defenders. And LCC, oh, they weren't asleep. LCC was trying to take it to him. The Knights being very aggressive. And Lincoln Land, the Loggers, put a complete stop to it. They're not going to have their time wasted. They come back into this fight. Zara does land the headshots onto Atrocity, and Sloth goes down as well. Anti is Invictus.
Oh, wow.
Taken down. I mean, right back into the action. The Knights claiming the second point.
I mean, what an incredible retake here. And something that I do like to see time and time again is just the incredibly well-placed anti-nates. We see Haunted Mage land these antis onto Invictus, basically making it so, you know, the focus, he's not going to get that peel necessary to sustain within the fight. And an anti Ryan against a nano Ryan is not going to last very long at all.
Beat drop going to come out here just to keep Kermie alive. He's still at half health. The front line so low. Osiris popping the noon, but the Riptire popped in his face. Sloth putting a stop to that DPS ultimate and then finding the kill onto Zara as well. They've got to stop this point. They're on their last legs in this game. They didn't cap 3 themselves. And this is the 3-0 in the hands of Northern Essex.
And yeah, you want to see Lincoln Land like stay alive within this set. You know, you want to see them get on the board. You don't want to go home 0-3 here. But I do think they need to slow it down a bit and not overextend like we saw before. But I do like the shutdown from Slothish previously on Zara. But now we see the Nano Ryan coming in once again and the Minefield controlling what will eventually be the end.
He pinned the visor from so far away, stacked. He pinned the visor almost like max distance. Like, ridiculous stuff. Legs was not able to evade. That's the third map. Northern Essex taking this one 3-0. In pretty dominant fashion, Brawl v Brawl. Kermie making a name for himself as a Ryan player out here.
Yeah, honestly, not even having to slow down at all. The Knights were basically just pressing W this whole map. And, you know, it's a good to Osiris here to, you know, get the play of the game. You see the boop here. It's going to come in. It's going to come in.
Oh,
there
yeah.
it is. You know,
brutal.
I love that. So, you know, you see the plays here. And I do also love the patience because it was a two-pronged kind of aspect of waiting for the boop to come in to displace the Rhine, but also in that same vein, waiting for the Rhine shield to go down. So a really good patience there and just a good, once again, follow-up and collaboration from the team. Always playing together, always having a game plan, seemingly. And even if, you know, we saw them kind of stumble here and there on Havana, I think that was basically just due to overconfidence at that point. Maybe a little just overconfident BM play and like how they were just haphazardly pushing up, letting those ults rip. But, you know, at the same time, if the other team's not going to keep you honest, then you have no reason to kind of be more reserved, you know? If they're just letting you run free, what are you going to do?
Well, it seemed like LCC was able to keep NECC in check at least just a little bit. They struggled on Ilios, and then they started to find some answers. They added some stuns to their comp. They started being more aggressive with their own Reinhardt plays and just limiting what Freaky J could really do. But I think there's no question that Freaky J is still the standout player in this match, stacked, right?
Almost definitely. And just basically the individual who just definitely directed the pace of each encounter and who had a literal impact onto Lincoln Land with the slams just coming in, disrupting the entire team. Not even just focusing on the squishies, but generally just having so much effectiveness. But really, great play. And I really do hope to see more from both of these teams. Lincoln Land, I know they won't be at all dissuaded. They're going to come back swinging with the Rhine Zarya combo. But, you know, big shout out once to another sponsor, actually, ESTV. If you want to take point, you know, we can shout out one last sponsor before we let go here.
Yeah, I'll tell you about ESTV. They're the first ever dedicated channel for esports and gaming personalities. The first channel devoted 24/7 to esports coverage that can be found on a number of OTT platforms, including the Roku channel, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung TV, plus Sling TV, and Vizio Free Watch.
Yes, ESTV partners with the world's top gaming networks and production partners for the most robust esports content lineup on linear, online, and mobile. For more information, please visit www.estv.co. Once again, that's a www.estv.co. All right,
Alrighty, chat.
set up for an interview here.
Oh, we get a Freaky J interview.
Let's get Freaky J in here. Wow. And yeah, once again, what an impactful player. But really, I'm really interested to see or just inquire.
Hello?
All right. Hello.
What's going on, guys?
Freaky
Well, how are
J,
you doing,
what's going
Freaky
on,
J?
man?
Not much, man. Riding high, you know?
Of course.
Well, yeah.
We just got a couple of questions for you, Freaky J. You're playing a composition of Reinhardt Wrecking Ball a lot of the time, and teams don't really get to prepare for that. It's a lot of Ryan Zarya, or you're running, the full dive. Reinhardt Wrecking Ball, could you just explain how the tempo of that comp works, how the pacing revolves maybe around your pile drives?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I like to call it the main tank sandwich. You get a Lucio speed and some Reinhardt action. You get a ball to boop him in from behind, and tank sandwich, baby.
That's a good name for it.
I'm always calling out what I'm doing. I like to yell a lot, so yeah. It works out for us. We're just a couple of weirdos. We make it work.
Having fun.
So I guess,
there you go.
You really run wild there with the Wrecking Ball. We just saw so much impact, literally, with your Wrecking Ball throughout each fight. We saw it opening up really to great effect on then Ruins. And it seemed like, you have a good amount of just sustain yourself. Basically forcing all of Lincoln Land to pivot their entire comp to just get those hard CCs. But I guess you still managed to kind of run wild with it, even after the sleep darts, the stuns, the hooks.
Oh, no, yeah, I was catching a lot of sleep darts in that Havana match.
Yeah.
Oh, you got what happened to you? You got McCree stunned on Ilios Ruins and then hooked into a Junkrat trap. All three of those things in 2 seconds.
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on when you're in the ball, and I'm happy to make it out alive most of the time. But against that team, that was pretty tough. I'd have maybe 4 turn on me, and I'd wind up rolling back from spawn. But hey, I'm pretty quick, so whatever. It's a quick reset. I don't mind.
But yeah, I guess it takes a lot more to dissuade you off of the ball. What would it actually take for you to feel like you'd need to switch?
You kidding me? The only tank I ever want to play is ball. Why is there other tanks? None of them
always
are nearly
forcible.
as fun.
Always forcible.
No, yeah. When there's enough rolling and slamming going on, we can always make it work. I did play Zarya at one point, but I really didn't want to.
Right. Yeah, we did see the Ryan Zarya squaring off to start off King's Row.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
I was playing DPS that match.
Oh, actually, I was going to mention Freaky J on the Hanzo.
Yeah, popping heads, baby.
But actually, I was gonna sorry for the mistake, but I was gonna actually ask, do you like playing the Wrecking Ball more, or did you like the Hanzo more? Because you were popping off on both, but we saw you light up the kill feed on King's Row. So I guess what was your favorite throughout this set?
All right, so I've played DPS for a few seasons now for this team. This is my first season on tank, and I try so much less on tank, and I have a higher rank, so I gotta say I like tank more. DPS, I lean in too far to my monitor, and I gotta sweat a little bit. It's too much, man. I'll take the ball.
Definitely.
Much. Yeah, once the sweat starts getting involved, you gotta come off the gas a little bit, man.
Like that, man.
Yeah. Oh, you were busy on Hanzo on King's Row, third point
busy.
too. That was a pretty insane show. I just got one last question that I wanted to ask you. With everything kind of shut down, coming a little bit back online, I'm just speaking in terms of COVID, each time for college programs. Well, a lot of the
Cutting out a little bit.
Well, y'all
at least
seems
something to come
cutting
back
out.
to.
Hey,
Better?
could you, I think you should restate your question. It got cut out for us here, but definitely get back in.
Was that choppy? There was a lot of wind outside.
Yeah, a little choppy.
Okay. All right, coming back at you for take 2. pretty much every college athletic is shut down or at least slowed with COVID, but esports has been there consistently. What's it like to have an esports program to go into, play some games with your teammates, with your friends, still have that competitive aspect while you're a student?
Honestly, dude, this is the most fun I've had in a very long time with random kids who I knew nothing about before, like a year ago.
Mhm.
Not, it's a good amount of fun. We're a community college too, so we're all just at home anyways. It's a good time to have people to talk to and have something in common with, because community college you don't really get the same experience. But these guys have become really good friends of mine over the time that we've been playing together. I'm very happy that we have this, especially during the way the world is now.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm happy
Definitely.
for all of you. Stacked, you got anything you wanted to ask Freaky J before we let him go?
Well, actually, I think that pretty much covers all my questions, and I'm glad we got to get that insight, let you I guess revel in your pop-off moments here. But basically, we shouldn't keep you from going back and celebrating with your team. I'm sure you're all gonna, watch the VOD with all the highlights
I'm
already
gonna go
lined
have a
up.
steak, buddy.
Oh yeah, well yeah, enjoy your time, enjoy the dub, and good luck with the rest of the season in NECC.
Thank you very much, guys.
Well, all right. That, I think, is going to do it for that matchup, Stacked. I mean, we got through it 3-0, NECC riding high, like Freaky J was saying. Anything you got to say before we hop off? Where can people find you?
Oh well, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, generally at Obergon Design. I do, other than commentary, just some other just art type stuff. But I don't need to plug everything. Definitely, I'd also recommend people stay tuned. There's way more matches this evening. Do follow NECC also on their platforms. Drop them a follow here on Twitch because I do love the content. And also, I guess I didn't really get to touch up on it too much then, but do follow the Rocket League games as well. Because actually, Slothish and some of the other players on the roster for Overwatch here for Lincoln Land are actually also Rocket League players, and they actually do very well. So give NECC more of your views. Check out the other games being run here because there's a lot of great content.
Wow. A multi esport college athlete. What a time to be alive. It's a good note to end this one on. We'll be back at around 9 for the next match, Fresno State versus Concordia, Wisconsin. Stick around.